Is it just me? Or is it getting crazier out there?
Hey, all you cool cats and kittens.
It's not just you, Joker. This year has been batshit crazy. Adding to the craziness is the fear that voting absentee or by mail could mean that our votes won't count, or that the presidential election will be fraudulent. In fact, I seem to remember hearing something like that just the other day.
They'll be sending them, they'll be dumping them in neighborhoods, they'll be people are going to be picking them up, they'll be bribing, they'll be paying off people to grab some.
Despite what the president says, voting by mail is the safest way to vote in the middle of a pandemic. Most states allow for mail-in voting, and because of financial problems with the United States Post Office, the best thing to do this year is to vote as early as you can and as safely as you can by dropping off your choice of president in the mail. Because of our electoral college system, the way that people vote in swing states is what decides who wins the presidency. These are the states that candidates visit over and over again in an attempt to sway undecided voters. And the swingiest of the swing states are considered battleground states. This year that includes Arizona, Florida, Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Wisconsin. The votes here are especially rare and precious, like a pink starburst or a Bigfoot sighting. Alarmingly, a huge number of ballots cast for the primary votes this year were rejected due to mistakes, not being postmarked in time, or having questionable signatures.
That are obviously childish forgeries when compared to...
There are lots of technicalities that can result in a vote being thrown out altogether. So we're going to go over how to make sure your vote counts by looking at the guidelines for our starburst states, but a lot of this will apply to other states as well. Arizona, home of Western-looking things. What's important to know is that Arizona has what is known as no excuse voting, which means that anyone can vote with an absentee ballot or by mail. You don't have to explain why you can't get out to vote in person. You just say you want to vote remotely and then do it. It's your own damn business, which might appeal to all you libertarians out there. Here are some dates to remember. You must be registered to vote by October 5th. Not registered? You can do that online, and it only takes a couple minutes. Visit vote.org/register-to-vote. It is recommended you send back your ballot through the mail, correctly filled out and signed, of course, by October 20th. You do need to request an absentee ballot, though. You can do that here. Vote.org/absentee ballot. But your ballot must be submitted no later than October 23rd. And keep in mind that the post office is pretty screwed up lately, so send it in even earlier if you can. If you would like to vote in person but want to avoid standing in line on November 3rd, you can vote early starting October 7th. This lasts all the way up until the 30th. So make a plan. Vote early before the 30th, then swing by the Safeway to load up on candy for trick-or-treaters. If we do Halloween this year, that is. We've all seen the headlines. Florida man attacked during selfie with squirrel. Florida man assaults girlfriend with fried chicken. But I can imagine an even more disturbing alert. Florida man's vote doesn't count. In order to avoid that, here's what you need to know. Again, you must be registered to vote by October 5th. You can do that here. Florida is also a no-excuse state, so decide whether you want to vote by mail or in person, and screw them if they want to know why. Request an absentee ballot by October 24th by visiting vote.org/absentee ballot and send it in as early as you possibly can. If you want to vote early and can't stand the thought of not getting one of those little stickers, you only have a week to do it in person, the last week of October. If you miss your opportunity to vote in person between the 24th and the 31st, you can always show up to the polls on November 3rd and vote there. Good news! A statewide ballot proposal passed that allows any registered and eligible voter in Michigan to request an absentee ballot regardless of your reason. You've got a couple extra weeks to register to vote. Michigan's deadline is October 19th, but don't wait. You can double check that your registration is valid and up to date by going to rockthevote.org/howtovote/am I registered to vote. It only takes a second. Mail in your vote by October 20th, request a ballot by the 30th at 5 p.m. if you like living on the edge, or show up to your polling place on November 3rd. Also, this just in, a judge just ruled that ballots postmarked by the day before the election, November 2nd, must be accepted and go toward the final numbers as long as they show up 2 weeks after Election Day. But don't be a dick, huh? Do it early. We all remember this. The governor of Pennsylvania, Big Bad Tom Wolf, is proposing changes to statewide election laws that would mean later deadlines for mail-in ballots and quicker assignments for poll workers. As of now, votes still count if they are received by 5 p.m. on the Friday after Election Day, but I don't recommend it. Check the state's Board of Elections to stay updated. In the meantime, make sure you're registered to vote by October 19th. Request a ballot no later than the 27th and mail it in immediately. Mail carriers are only human, and some are pure evil. So give them plenty of time to make mistakes and sweeten the deal with cannolis or calzones if you wish. Okay, I take this personally because I adopted North Carolina this year and have been texting and calling voters to make sure they know how to make their voices heard. The number of times I've been told to get bent in a southern accent might surprise you. For this election, only one single witness is needed for your absentee vote to count. You can even ask your mail carrier to witness your signature before handing it over. Every registered voter, so long as you're registered by October 9th, can request an absentee ballot. Just make sure you've made your request here no later than October 27th. In the tradition of unlikely crossovers, the DMV and Board of Elections have joined forces to expand online voter registration. This means that North Carolinians who already have driver's licenses or state IDs can register online without even getting dressed. You can vote early in person starting October 15th. This goes all the way through Halloween, which is fitting because missing the voting deadline is scary stuff. If you do vote by mail, send in your signed, sealed, and delivered ballot by October 20th. Listen to this. Wisconsin is being proactive by sending absentee ballots to all registered voters, whether you request them or not. Register no later than October 14th, by the way. If yours hasn't shown up, or you're a neurotic mess like me, you can also personally request one, no excuse needed, online or by mail. Just remember that your application to vote by mail has to be received, not just postmarked, no later than October 29th. And this may change because of a case working its way through the courts, but as of now, you do need a witness to sign off on your ballot, and it must be received by Election Day. You can also vote early and in-person, known as in-person absentee, from October 20th to November 1st. Just double-check where your polling place is and drop on in. Keep in mind that almost every state has a drop-off location for your absentee ballot if you feel better about delivering it yourself. Just don't try and vote twice, despite what the president says.
They'll go out and they'll vote, and they're going to have to go and check their vote by going to the poll and voting that way, because if it tabulates, then they won't be able to do that. So let them send it in and let them go vote. And if their system's as good as they say it is, then obviously they won't be able to vote. If it isn't tabulated, they'll be able to vote. So that's the way it is.
So there are lots of challenges facing us as voters this year. But in the past, people have been beaten and even killed over trying to vote, and we don't have it as bad as all that. All we have to do is sign things correctly, make a plan to vote early, and drop something in the mail.